In today's video, what we're going to do is skip the gimmicks and cover my complete advice for how to build muscle as a natural bodybuilder and how to actually see results. Alright, so let's get into the video. So what we're going to do is break it down by, say, gym newbies, overweight people, underweight people, and someone that I class as an intermediate lifter, say such as myself. So if you're a gym newbie watching this right now, let's just stick to the main facts and how you can actually see progress. So initially when you first start lifting, then your body kind of get that new stimulus and it starts peaking very, very quick. The growth is usually the fastest it's ever going to be. As long as you're doing at least the damn near basics, you will see progress. So for one, if you're an average typical person, so you're not overweight, you're not underweight, and you're just looking to start building muscle, you do not need to go into no huge crazy bulk. I know some people still believe that, but you don't need to. You'll be fine probably sticking around your maintenance calories, so what you already consume roughly now, but just increasing the protein intake and training the gym roughly 3 to 4 times per week. If you feel like you absolutely want to go into a bulk, a very, very, very minor bulk, like the calories should only be increased by maybe 100 calories, and then only increase it again once your body actually stalls. So do not aim to try and increase the calories every single week, because you don't need to. And 100 calories isn't a lot of calories, so people overthink it. 100 calories added onto your days, like having an additional fiber bar or a protein shake or something like that. You don't need to try and overthink it and try and feed plates and plates of food in your mouth. And with those simple steps, most of you will see progress with that. As a gym newbie, you have the potential to build a lot more muscle, a lot easier and a lot quicker, purely because it's a brand new stimulus to your body. So don't overthink it. Now, if you're an overweight person watching this, you do not need to bulk. You'd be surprised how many people that are overweight that send me pictures on Instagram and say, I'm looking to start the gym and I want to build muscle, should I bulk? And the answer is no. If your body fat is fairly higher than the average, you do not need to bulk. You can actually either stay at maintenance and build muscle, or depending on how overweight you are, probably get into a slight deficit, whether it's from calories or adding a little bit of cardio, and continue to train and you will build muscle. When you have that much excess body fat on your body, it's not smart to bulk, because all you're going to do is look fatter. If you're still fairly new to lifting, you're not very consistent, you can build muscle while in a small calorie deficit. Don't be in a crazy huge deficit of like 1,000 or 800 calories. You don't need to be. You will build some gains while losing some of that fat. Now for the underweight people, you should not be cutting. This is probably more frequent than the other one I just mentioned. I have loads of people that I would class as fairly skinny that may have just a smooth stomach, and they're saying to me, what should they be cutting on? They want to cut because obviously they're trying to fight to get abs. But the problem is, if you're very underweight already, you should not be cutting, because even if you did cut your calories even more and manage to see these very small abs at this point, you're going to look very malnourished and you're going to look very skinny and you're going to look like a skeleton. You should not be cutting. You need to build muscle. If you aim to look like whatever Avenger, like Chris Hemsworth, well, maybe not him, say Captain America, a more athletic looking physique build, you're not going to get there when you're already skinny and losing more weight. It's just not going to work. You're going to look like a bag of bones. When you're in this realm, you are the person that should be bulking. Even if you're a newbie, you should be bulking if you're underweight, because you want to bring your body weight up to a more healthy standpoint. And that means body weight in general, so not just muscle. You will gain muscle and fat as well. You'd be surprised how many skinny newbies that do actually decide to bulk. They always say, I want to build muscle, no fat. No, you want to look more healthy and aesthetic. You need body fat as well as the muscle as well. So you can get into a small calorie surplus, depending on how underweight you are, maybe 150 to 300 calories, and gradually progress. And as before, don't just simply add on an extra 300 calories or 150 calories every single week. Do it when the weight stalls. You know what I mean? When the weight starts slowing down, then you can potentially increase it. But don't aim to try and rapidly increase it. You're just going to gain weight a little bit too quick, then end up at the opposite end of the spectrum. So the people I just covered are more the beginner kind of aspects, but what I will say before I move on is, if you are in any of those positions I just mentioned and you're already complaining about your genetics and you're not going to be able to make progress and it's stopping you from improving and all that stuff, you need to shut up. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to say that building muscle or building a better physique is easy for every single body. It's not. However, everyone can improve their current standpoint by putting certain steps in place and actually building better habits. You need to take ownership and make improvements. Don't be a bullshitter and a whiny person that complains about genetics. When you're at the very beginning of the start line, that probably sounds a little harsh, but trust me, I don't want you to waste time procrastinating for years talking about your genetics, wasting prime time that you could be building a better physique. Alright people, now we're into the meat and potatoes of the video, which is actually, for those of you who are natural bodybuilders, been training for like say 6+ years, and you're in that intermediate realm now, 6 years consistently by the way, how can you continue to try and improve your physique as a natural without jumping on XYZ? So I'm pretty sure many of you are aware, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you now, that you can't just forever pack on pounds and pounds of muscle. That's just not the case. If you're at this point in the journey, I'm pretty sure you know that. So basically what happens is, the more you train, the less muscle you'll build over time. Before up to this point, you probably were going to build muscle relatively okay. As long as your nutrition was fairly in check and you went to the gym consistently and trained, you were going to see progress. Now once you start getting into that intermediate realm, you have to now go above and beyond, try and force as much growth as possible. So you have to really decide whether you actually even want to go the extra level up, because now you're going to get to that point where it may be a little bit more pedantic. So you have to really decide, are you happy with your current physique, or do you really want to push it further and see further improvements? If you do, that protein needs to be in check, which to be honest at this point it probably already is, right? Now you need to make sure you're getting enough vegetables and micronutrients. These things are going to help your body in general. Macros, yes, controls weight loss and weight gain for the most part, because that totals up to the calories. However, micronutrients play a big part as well, because those are like the little behind the scenes factors that people don't often talk about, especially in the beginner stages. The more varied vitamins and minerals that you consume, the more easier it is for your body to actually absorb the macros you're consuming. And also, these things have other effects on like your testosterone, your cortisol, all things like that as well, because you want to, end of the day, try and make everything better improved. So when you make these improvements, these things kind of it's kind of like a circle. They all feed into each other. Once you improve one section of it, it feeds into the next part and the next part, and it goes around in a circle. And over time, this is what will help you build and progress your physique. Other than that, you should probably look into supplementation a little bit more as well. Natural supplements I'm talking about. So for example, at this point, you should probably be taking creatine if you're not already. It's a proven supplement that works. It helps with your endurance, your strength. So in theory, if it helps you put more output in a gym session, you could potentially build more muscle due to that. Not from creatine itself, but just because it helps aid the facilities that will build muscle. So me, myself, I've started taking creatine roughly about 4 months ago now. If I'm being honest, I probably should have took it a long time ago. For overall supplementation, you can look into what you find best for you. Now, in regards to your training, you should be making sure you're actually tracking them and monitor them as the weeks go by, because you want to make sure you're actually progressing. You'd be surprised that even when people that talk about doing progressive overload, they may not do that because they just forget. They're going to the gym and not remember exactly how much they lifted last time and not really upping it as much as they should. So this is something I'm doing myself. I'm purposely now getting to that point where I'm actually tracking at least my main lifts, like the main, like say 3 compounds on each gym day I do, just to see, is the weight going up? So if you really want to force that extra growth, you really need to make sure you actually are progressively increasing those lifts, even if it means adding small amounts of weight onto the bar, like a 1.2 kg disc. It may not seem like a lot, but it goes a long way over time as you continually up and up and up it. Some people think you have to jump like 10 kg each time or 5 kg. That's not going to be the case. The incremental changes at this point is going to go a long way. Quick shout out, the app that I found that is fairly good, that just makes it very simple for tracking your lifts, is one called Clean Lifts. So that is roughly how it kind of looks on the screen. So basically it lets you choose the weight and how many sets you did. Then over time you'll start making a graph and stuff to see if you're actually progressing in those lifts. Next up, if you want to build a well-rounded physique, you need to definitely critique and analyze your physique for the weak areas, and then create a routine to focus on and improve those areas. Just analyze what areas do you need to bring up. So sticking to these things will help you build a much denser physique over time. Even though the scales may not be rapidly shooting up with crazy muscle gains, right? I guarantee little by little, you're going to see improvements. For example, me 170 pounds right now looks different to me 170 pounds last year. I can look a little bit leaner. So all these little things, trying to implement them over time, little by little, makes those muscles a lot more denser so they look better visually. You can definitely improve and improve and improve little by little. You may not be able to notice in the mirror week on week, but when you look back maybe a year from now, you may see, damn, yes, I've definitely improved here, I've improved there too, and that is what you need to do. So make sure you're taking decent progress photos or videos. Alright, so now at this point, now you can acknowledge your genetics. Earlier I mentioned not talking about it too much because you're in the beginner stages. However, for those of you now that are intermediate, the reason why I say you can assess it now is because at this point in your training career, you should somewhat know your muscle building potential and at least kind of be more realistic with the potential goals you're setting for yourself, because you need to have realistic goals. If you set a goal a little bit too far away, it can almost be demotivating because you feel like you're never ever going to attain it. You know what I mean? Your knowledge of fitness should be improved so you have a much more realistic outlook on what you can attain. But as I said, don't become complacent. Still set yourself a challenging goal, but just don't make sure it's not too far ahead. For example, if you're 180 pounds lean right now, you're not going to really be getting to 200 pounds dead lean naturally, because you're not going to be packing on extra 20 pounds of lean muscle. It's just not going to happen naturally anyway. So you need to kind of put that aside and start making more attainable goals. You know, if you're 180 pounds lean now, maybe set your goals on being 183 pounds lean. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but after 6-7 years of lifting, or 9 years like myself, adding 3 pounds of muscle mass to your physique is hard work. The number 3 may sound small, but in reality, 3 pounds of muscle is a decent amount of muscle, and it will look pretty good on a physique. Now for the advanced lifters, I'm not even going to kid myself or play myself. If you're watching me right now, I guarantee you do not need to be getting advice from me if you're an advanced lifter. However, you do have a job and an obligation here. So at this point now, please write down in the comments any tips or advice you feel like would help somebody else. So help another natural person out and comment down below. And my bonus tip is, before I leave, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to ignore, but trust me, hear me out. Try and follow as much natural bodybuilders as you can on the social media platforms that you have. The reason for this is, following too many unnatural, fake natural bodybuilders, even if you believe or know in your brain already that they are not natural, over time, as you consistently see these physiques all the time on your feed, slowly it'll creep into your brain and you're just going to start saying to yourself, I want to look like that, even when these people are natural, and set yourself up for failure. Or, worst of all, may even tempt you to start using drugs because you want to look as good as these people. So I'm not saying to unfollow every single unnatural lifter or fake natural, well, maybe the fake naturals, but the unnatural lifters. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to try and motivate yourself a lot more. Try and fill your brain and at least your feed with physiques that are natural. Not saying that to look basic. They can still have very good physiques. But try and not fill it up with just roided up people. You know, no offense to them, I'm just saying as a natural bodybuilder, these little things can really skew your perception of what the male physique can attain naturally. At the end of the day, you want to try and uplift yourself when you go on these platforms. You don't want to look at someone and go, damn, I feel like shit because I don't look like them. So remember, it's you versus you. The main aim is you build your own physique and try and improve your own circumstances. However, these little things can act as little motivators. Knowing someone else is natural and still smashing it in the gym and sticking to it can really motivate you. Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from there. No shade to anyone that's unnatural. I'm just saying, for my natural lifters out there, I'm trying to help your mentality, because sometimes these little things really can mess with your head. It's happened to me in the past as well. Anyways, people, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know down below. Comment down below any tips you think will help someone else out there. But yeah, people, anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Stay getting gains. I'm out.
Make $1 million cash for you flatline. Make a master plan, watch it backfire.